Smartphones in 2017 are increasingly going for a bezel-less design. In fact, I think by next year, most smartphones, if not all, will have very tiny to no bezels around the display. While the recently launched iPhone X might have captured everyone's attentions with its futuristic design and once again that nearly bezel-less display, the phone that must actually be credited for bringing this trend to the general public is last year's Xiaomi Mi Mix. However, the Xiaomi Mi Mix was an elusive device and was not really global as such because it was launched just in China. What Xiaomi intends to do is change that with the new Mi Mix 2. Hi, I'm Ershad. This is the recently launched Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. Let's get down to our review. Let's start with this gorgeous display up front. It looks downright stunning, and I'm not really exaggerating out here. You actually have to see it to believe it. In fact, after using the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, I went back to my year-old iPhone 7 Plus, and to be entirely honest, I was slightly disappointed. From gaming to watching videos, you're bound to get engrossed in the Mi Mix 2's display, which has a resolution of 1080 by 2160 pixels. The Mi Mix 2 has a 5.99-inch display with slim bezels. Here are 3 reasons why I think the Mi Mix 2 is the best looking bezel-less phone when you consider only the front of the device. Unlike the iPhone X or the Essential phone, there is no notch getting in the way of viewing content. Then there are the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus Duo. Both have curved displays that spill over from the edges. As far as the LG G6 and the V30 are concerned, those are definitely good looking phones, but the Mi Mix 2 has a better screen to body overall ratio. Having said all that, I do have some gripes with the display. For example, I really wished it could go a few notches brighter, because under direct sunlight it does get washed out a bit. But thankfully, the auto brightness mode works stupendously well. Additionally, MIUI doesn't have a provision yet for you to force fit apps into the 18:9 resolution. Therefore, apps like YouTube and a few games that haven't been updated yet for the new aspect ratio show up with letterboxes on the left and the right to fill the space. You can override this in a Samsung Galaxy S8 using the context-sensitive on-screen button that pops up. The display, along with the other internal components of the phone, are covered in a nice premium ceramic shell, a material that is actually very difficult to engineer for smartphones. The ceramic back makes the phone easier to hold and use. It is definitely heavy, but the added heft just adds to the ergonomics and the overall stability of the phone. My only issue with the design has to be the placement of the front camera, which is at the bottom of the display, and it is actually pretty awkward to use. Thankfully, Xiaomi's default camera app flips around when you use the phone upside down to capture a selfie. Also present at the bottom is the USB Type-C port, the speaker grill, and the 3.5mm jack. Lol, just kidding. There's no 3.5mm jack because, who needs them nowadays anyway? The Mi Mix 2 doesn't come with dual cameras like most flagship smartphones today, but it does come with a single 12-megapixel IMX386 sensor with an f/2.0 optically stabilized lens. Now, this camera captures good images, but I expected better. I noticed that the Mi Mix 2 offers a fairly accurate color reproduction, but the images were not as sharp as the ones captured by the OnePlus 5 or the LG G6. Also, when shooting against light, the dynamic range takes a hit, but it can be partially solved using the built-in HDR mode. The low light shots on the other hand were not too bad if you manage to get the exposure right. Overall, the camera is good, but not flagship grade. The 5-megapixel front-facing camera takes Facebook upload-worthy pictures, but that's about it. It struggles a lot in low light. Now, the Indian retail unit of the Mi Mix 2 comes with MIUI 8 running on top of Android Nougat. Our review unit actually had MIUI 9 running on top of Android Nougat again, which mind you is still in its beta stage. We don't know when MIUI 9 is coming to the Mi Mix 2, but it is definitely coming. Therefore, for the sake of this review, let's actually take a look at MIUI 9 and what's new and what you will get in the future. If you've played around with both Android and iOS before, MIUI is a unique mashup of the two. MIUI 9 has a few new tricks up its sleeve, and my favorite feature definitely has to be the fact that you can pinch on the home screen to enter edit mode and bunch multiple apps together and move them around different home screens. However, some of the cool new features introduced at the MIUI 9 presentation, like Smart Assistant and Image Search, were absent from our review unit. Swiping right from the lock screen gives you access to Mi Home. I'm not a fan of the whole two-finger swipe to reply to my WhatsApp messages. Also, more third-party app support is needed at the moment. But let me remind you once again that MIUI 8 or the Indian version of the Mi Mix 2 should be a pretty stable OS, and you don't have to worry much about it. Most flagship Android smartphones in 2017 actually make use of Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 SoC. The Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 is no different. The Snapdragon 835 SoC inside the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 is mated to 6 gigs of RAM. Now, when the phone was launched in China, it came in 3 storage variants. Now, since we're shooting this review before the launch of the Indian retail unit, you might have to take a look at this annotation to find out what storage variants have actually launched in the country. In any case, this combination of components makes the phone very powerful and it shows in day-to-day performance. I devoured multiple hours of Asphalt 8's new bikes update on the phone. As for the earpiece itself, I found it to be pretty decent and the phone does a good job of holding on to the network signal as well, despite Attel's notoriously high call drop these days. While there is no 3.5mm jack on the phone like I'm joked about before, you do get a dongle inside the box. The sound quality using my One More Triple Driver reference IEMs was good enough, but I felt that the Mi A1's internal DAC had a better sound output. Wow. The fingerprint scanner on the rear is stupendously fast, as it should be. And the 3400 mAh battery lasts longer than I expected it to. I easily got 5 hours of screen on time on an average, which is brilliant considering I literally put my phone through a torture. Also, let's not forget the fact that it supports Quick Charge 3.0. What this means is that you can charge it from 0 to 100% in under 2 hours. With the Mi Mix 2, you're not going to be worrying about battery life at all. Overall, the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 has a few shortcomings which can actually be overlooked. Also note that Xiaomi is not really charging a premium for the Mi Mix 2. iPhone 10. Well, jokes apart, the Mi Mix 2 is actually a great bargain. It's not the best flagship Android smartphone out there, but it comes tantalizingly close. As far as alternatives are concerned, you have the OnePlus 5, the Honor 8 Pro and the Nokia 8, all of which superb smartphones, mind you. But one thing to notice is that Mi Mix 2 actually takes you to the future of smartphones with its nearly bezel-less display. Only if it had great cameras and stock Android like the Xiaomi Mi A1. If you liked our review of the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 and would like to watch more reviews like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and right next to that subscribe button is the bell icon which will send you notifications as soon as we put up a review. Until next time and the next review, this is Eshad signing off.